This week on the TT show, the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer is here and it's insane. Fallout is getting its own TV show. The US doesn't want China to own any RTX 4090 graphics cards. Windows 12 is coming sooner than expected. Tesla finally started delivering Cybertrucks. Elon Musk's SpaceX may stop humans from traveling to the moon in 2025 and much more. Let's get into it. Welcome back to another episode of the TT show. My name is Jack Connor. I'm a hardware editor over at Tweaktown, and I'm joined today by my co-host
Costa Andriadis, gaming hardware editor at Tweaktown.
How are you going, my friend?
Pretty good. The trailer gods have smiled upon us because obviously we record this before the episode goes live, but pretty much Rockstar dropped the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer early. We didn't think that it would be like basically next week's big topic, but it dropped like an hour before we started recording, and It's now out, and it looks, like you said, insane.
It does look insane. Yeah, like you were saying, this dropped an hour ago, so this is our very first impressions. I've watched the trailer 3 times. I watched it once when I woke up, and then 2 more times right before we started recording, and we're going to get into a bit of an analysis of what we think of GTA 6. Go ahead.
Yeah, before we do that, so why did Rockstar drop the trailer early? Well, so when I woke up this morning, there was a couple of messages, and one of them was that somebody had leaked the trailer, and so there were reports saying that, okay, the trailer is 90 seconds long because, that's news, because anything GTA related is news. Mm-hmm. And they posted it on X, I think, and they put whoever leaked it put a watermark on it saying, if you want to see it without a watermark, send me Bitcoin.
Oh my
or
God.
Crypto. And so then Rockstar obviously went into overdrive, so they removed it, and then it started popping up in other places, and they kept removing it. And so then they just dropped it early. So it was supposed to drop about 12 hours from now, from when we're recording this. So they just dropped it, and which is awesome because we get to talk about it.
Yeah.
But also just because we finally get to see GTA 6. I mean, it's like a decade since GTA 5. Just let that sink in.
A decade. Yeah. It's funny because I messaged you in the morning to be like, this is when we're going to start recording. And I just said, I'm like, the GTA 6 trailer's out. You're like, what? Yeah. What? And you're like, oh, it must have come out early. I flicked you the link, and you're like, oh my God.
I thought you were going to send me like the leak. Like I thought you had there was like a leak, somebody put it back up or something. I'm like, what? Okay. No, it was the official Rockstar
public. Yeah. So, just first and foremost, if this is the graphics we're going to be getting in game, I am very impressed with the graphics. They are crazy details. I was analyzing the shadows, the lighting, just the amount of objects that are on screen as well. Like if we're rendering that amount smoothly without, my 4090 lighting on fire, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think it's fireproof. But this is crazy. This is very, very intense graphics. From what you've seen, what kind of graphics card do you think is going to be the base recommendation?
Well, what we don't know is, so the trailer, just to give details, obviously the game is set in Vice City, and it's modern day. Vice City is GTA's version of Miami and Florida, and the trailer says 2025, and what we do know obviously is that it's coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. And the footage we're seeing could very well be from those versions of the game. Now, we don't know if it's going to launch with a PC version. Rockstar hasn't said, but in the past, GTA 5 came out on console first, then PC. Red Dead Redemption 2 came on console first, then PC. So the hope, or even the expectation, is that this will launch on PC as well as console. And I'm guessing that it will, based on the visuals that we're seeing here, because this looks like next level. And just on the detail, so it's not just like, the amount of detail that you see in the buildings. Like you look at the buildings and you look at the roads and the cars and you're like, wow, it's the density. It's like the amount of cars on the road, the amount of people in scenes.
Yes.
Like, you look at the nightclub, it's packed with people.
Yeah,
you look at like...
That's what I noticed on my third watch through.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of like encapsulated the first couple of times. I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching the GTA 6 trailer right now. Like, it almost felt like a mystical, like a unicorn. Like, but on the third one, I was a bit more analytical about it. I'm like, oh my God, even the objects in the background, even like they seem high detail, and even though they're slightly blurred and you've got like focus points for rendering and all of that stuff, they're still highly detailed. And like you were saying, the scenes that we're looking at, they're dense. Like this isn't a barren wasteland where there's a few highly rendered objects. It's, I don't know, the nightclub is a great scene. That almost looked like a cinematic piece. Like you kind of walk into the room and then, it goes into a cinematic kind of thing. But what I noticed, what kind of stood out to me was there's a lot of phone footage. Like they've taken...
Yes.
I don't know. It seems very meta. It seems like they want to encapsulate the times. Yeah. And they're like, I was trying to read some of the text on the thing, and it's a lot of accounts that have like follow next to it, and they've got really funny names.
There's one of them. I just saw it a second ago. I'll bring it back up. It was, so it's like a footage of the Dad Bod Squad. Like on a yacht, like partying with the, bikini women, and it's just like it's obviously like Rockstar satirizing or at least leaning into the influencer and that sort of culture, because a decade ago with GTA 5, so GTA 5 you had your phone and you had apps on your phone, and that was kind of like you're looking at, what was that, like the iPhone 4 era?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So like 10 years of like, X and Twitter and now TikTok and things like that. So we haven't seen that satirized in Grand Theft Auto before. And that's definitely going to, like, based on the trailer, like even like, like the criminal stuff, like where you've got like body cam footage for like what look like police or SWAT teams, and then security camera footage of like a gator going into like a convenience store.
Yeah, I love that.
Just like classic sort of, making fun of what could happen in Florida or Vice City.
Yeah. There was a few gator things. One of my favorites was the very nice lady twerking on the car.
Yeah.
The very nice lady. And I'm just looking at the account that has posted that, because the footage is shot as if it was like a video on social media. The account name that posted it is Have a Vice Day. And then the caption to the video is, someone called the Department of Transport on this dump truck.
GTA has always had like great writing. So it's going to be insane.
It's quippy. I love it. What else can we dissect here? There seems to be like a live stream scenario. If you skip ahead, I think it's about 46 seconds. It would be interesting if, this is just off the dome here, if the online version of this, you could go live in game.
And live stream.
Yeah, and then other players could watch in game your live stream of your in-game character.
Okay, that's an amazing feature. Like I hope that the game has that. Like I think
you heard it here first. If Rockstar does it, you heard it here first.
I think you should use that. It's like GTA 6 should have this game-changing feature, or the headline, something similar to that.
I'm making
or GTA Online, Grand Theft Auto 6 Online should have this feature, because that's like so 2023, right? Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Like
yeah,
Grand
it's
Theft
on
Auto
brand.
Online, it's all about role playing. It's all about living in that world, and like you can just start live streaming within the game. I'd like you'd think that technology would be possible, right? Because like if you're streaming the game, you're just streaming the game, right? So then if you're just streaming a POV of people just watching you and
Yeah, imagine if you could go onto your phone, because you know how you can pull up
Yeah.
your phone on Grand Theft Auto, and then you hit like, I don't know, GTA streams or
Yeah.
like Vice City streams or whatever, and then there's just players that are just walking around with their phone up. I don't know. They're walking around with their
yeah.
phone up, like
The mechanics, they'll have to work it out. But I think the idea is golden.
I think it's that's a fun idea, because if you look on the trailer, there's this part where there's these two very nice ladies dancing, and there's a chat going off. There's a bunch of comments coming in. It's just right before the gator. How much of this, one of my favorite shots in this trailer is the guy, the hillbilly looking dude, getting out of what I think is a taxi or something like that, yellow car.
I just saw that
And
as well.
yeah, I just love the lighting in that shot right there. That kind of almost looks like cinematic.
I was about to say that with the visuals, right? If you go back to Red Dead Redemption 2, that was 2018, right? And that game, like on PC now, looks incredible.
Yeah, it
You
does.
can add mods and stuff to it to get like, you know, RTX and other things in there. But like, even if you take all the way out, like the environment shots, the lighting, it still looks incredible. And that's like a 5-year-old game. So the fact that this is like the next version of their technology is crazy. But what I think that they're going for, and which is really cool, is that it doesn't look photoreal, right? Like the characters, like the detail in the world is incredible, right? But it's more like a cinematic or a animated, you know, with realistic proportions film versus something that's trying to be photoreal in terms of its visuals. Like it's not. If you look at a shot, you know, the lighting is incredible. It's like it's cinematic lighting. Everything looks beautiful in terms of like the sunsets, which you would expect for Vice City because you know it's Florida, and the game is definitely going to lean into that, the sun and sunsets and on all that sort of stuff. But it's not trying to be like, you know, is this real or is this not? Like, oh, that looks photoreal.
Yeah, it seems, and I suppose this is what you're trying to say, is that they've picked their parts of the game to put a lot of detail in very well. So
Yes,
like they might have, like, say that shot with the very nice gentleman grabbing his crotch for a wait, hold on, it says here, General Custard Cannon. This is another account. Only in Leonida is a crotch grab, an apology for bad driving. If you look at his trousers in this shot here, they don't appear to have a lot of detail, but where the light is hitting on his arm gets more detail. And I think that's what you're saying, right? Is like they've picked and choose the spots to include almost photorealistic, not too much.
That's right. Yeah, like the character detail looks incredible, but they're not going into Uncanny Valley is what I guess what I'm getting. So like it's
that's
not
a perfect way to put it.
exactly photoreal, but like the characters are so detailed that you would think that this was like, you know, a CG movie, so to speak. Like it's good enough for that. Go to the 32-second point in the trailer, right? And just have a look at that city shot. Of like street
that's
level.
beautiful.
It's like obviously you've got like the depth of field cinematic stuff, but
Look at the
just
density.
outside of that, what is happening in, like, if that's like an in-game shot, right? You've got like a street full of cars, but not only full of cars. If you look on the opposite side of the street, there's just people all hanging out outside a hotel or a bar, and then on one side you've got people walking down the street. You got looks like a homeless person just sitting there, and you've got like cars, people parking or getting out of cars. You got people like crossing the street at the same time. Like it's just dense. Like there's so much happening in that one shot. So, and if you think of like an open world game, like, you know, traditionally, like, or even like you go back to GTA 5 or GTA 4, like you'll see a few cars, you'll see a few people, and it is like a city, and you can tell it's a city, but this is like next level compared to what we've seen before.
Yeah, I'm looking at the nightclub shot here as well. It's just, there's so many characters on screen in that's probably the most impressive part. Like, obviously the graphics is the most impressive part, but I'm talking more of like a technical engine aspect of the game. for me at least, is like to have this level of detail, but also incorporate so many individual, I suppose we would call them polygons on screen.
Yeah. Take a look at 21 seconds, like the beach, like the packed like beach, when it's just like people everywhere and they're all doing different things. So it's like like you look at that and that if you pause it at that point and you go like, well, that could be a photograph or like, you know, a carefully staged shot with like that many people doing so many different things. Like you got people in the background, you got jet skis in the background, you got people lying down on towels, you got people running on the beach, people walking, people doing all sorts of things. And you got a helicopter flying in the background, you get to build it like it's
a plane.
Bananas.
Yeah, that almost looks like a POV from your character, that beach shot.
Yeah, definitely.
While some others, I'm almost certain they are cinematic pieces.
Yes, yeah.
Like I think the alligator that coming in to the department store, I think that's a cinematic
that's like
shot.
Camera footage. Yeah.
Yeah. What else do we have? I think all of the social media stuff is like pre-rendered and cinematic. I don't know. It could be like you trigger this in game and then this is what you see, or I think they.
But if you remember, like,
go ahead.
Sorry. So like Grand Theft Auto 4, which was Liberty City. So that was, I think the early days of the 360, and that had where you could sit down in your apartment and you could watch TV, and there would be like full stand-up specials.
Oh yeah.
So like I think there was like a Ricky Gervais one. You could watch like a full 30 minutes of like a stand-up show, and there was like actual shows that you could watch, and they were like rendered on the TV.
Wow.
So like, you know, the Grand Theft Auto like has that sort of thing where there's just all this sort of stuff in it. So the social media thing could be like you could fire up the app and then just scroll through like the game's version of TikTok in the game and just have like hours of like accounts that you could actually follow and watch.
Yeah.
Because if GTA like initially had like you know, where you could watch TV, or you could go into a movie theater and watch a movie, you know, they potentially are doing that level of thing. So like the social media stuff that we're seeing here, you can actually just pick up your phone and, you know, watch news broadcasts or just scroll through like TikTok.
It would be awesome, and I suppose this is in the same lane as the live streaming idea, and I suppose a bit like pulled back. Instead of being able to go live, or both, it would be cool if you could use your phone in GTA 6 to record a video of what you're doing, like almost like a shadow play kind of thing, because I don't think like players are going to be like, oh, this is going to be a cool moment, I'll pull out my phone now to record it, because I don't know, maybe you can't use a certain gun with two hands or something like that. But if it was like a almost shadow play type of feature, and you could capture like a GIF or like a 5-second bit of footage of whatever you did in game, and then you could share it to the in-game GTA 6 Vice City app that you could go onto your phone and then watch other people's. It's like it's turning screenshots into like, you know how you can take screenshots in Steam and then post them up,
like a social media platform. And I actually, based on that, I would put money that Rockstar is going to launch, either the game is going to launch with, or it's going to be like a coming soon feature, a fully integrated social media app. So the game will have its own. So obviously, you know, when you log in, you'll have your account, right? So then that account gets you access to Rockstar's version of TikTok or X, and you're just, you know, you're posting from within the game.
Yeah. Wow.
And they're creating their own like little metaverse in a way.
Yeah. Was that would that just be for GTA Online, or would we see that for the?
They could integrate it in both, I think, but possibly just GTA Online. I mean, I think GTA Online, like based on how popular it still is with GTA 5 and how much money it makes for Take-Two and Rockstar, there's guaranteed that like they're building it from the ground up to be this extensive MMO like thing where you can just do so many more things than you could previously. Because if you go, like, take a step back and, like, if we're saying, like, oh, it would be cool if it has this feature or that, this pie in the sky features, right? Like you say, like, you know, the social media stuff from within the game. Like, I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility, because the game GTA 5 came out a decade ago, and sure, they made Red Dead Redemption 2 in between that. So like at worst, they've been working on this full time, you know, with however many people for 5 years, let's say.
Yeah.
But this game has the biggest budget out of any game in the history of games, most likely, right? The fact that, like, it's not outside the realm of possibility that they've already spent $1 billion developing this game.
Wow. That's a lot of money to develop a game. So, question. With the release of this game, obviously the GTA Online player base is going to tank a little bit. I don't know if it's going to bounce back, but do you think Rockstar will replace GTA Online? Will they update it to make it look like GTA 6, or like how is the online side of GTA 6 going to work in like while there is GTA Online already?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think they mothball it or just, you know, turn off the servers, because GTA 5's online mode is a very specific popular thing that has people running their own role-play servers and things like that. I think they continue to support it. I think even for the first year or so, like for sure, like Take-Two and Rockstar know that they can have a small team of people just continuously developing, you know, like even just things like new clothing, new vehicles, new jobs or new careers and things like that they continue to do now. Like there's always events. There's always going to be like holiday themed events or seasonal events. Yeah. And I think it just comes down to, what are they going to call this? Like, is it going to be GTA Online 2? Grand Theft Auto 6 includes GTA Online 2. Like, it's going to be like, it's a little bit confusing because you got like 6 and 2
exactly
in the same game.
Yeah.
But maybe it's called Grand Theft Auto Online, and then they just rebrand the previous one to be Grand Theft Auto Online Classic or something, like, you know, like World of Warcraft.
I would prefer to do, I'd prefer to do it that way.
Here's another idea for Rockstar. Hey, Rockstar.
Rockstar needs to be taking notes. They need to listen to the podcast. Yeah.
Or they just need to be, they're either sitting there nodding their heads going, oh, yeah, all that's in the game, or,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's
like,
schedule a meeting.
Jerry, write this down.
Knocking on, excuse me, Mr. Hauser.
Yeah, no, I prefer if they kept Grand Theft Auto Online at the most recent released game, and then kind of like rolled back current GTA Online to Classic. I think that would be the much smarter way to do it, because then you keep best of both worlds, because you obviously people want to play 6 online, like, of course, look at it, but you also don't want to completely cannibalize the cash cow that has been essentially fueling Rockstar Games, the
development of this game.
Yeah, this is interesting. I'm just looking at a shot in the trailer again. If you go to 54 seconds, I'm looking at the grass and the foliage. It's the nude dude standing there watering his lawn when it's flooded. Yeah, it's completely flooded there, and he's watering his lawn.
There's that shot of like the fan boat going down like the swamp or whatever with like flamingos and animals. Remember, it was a couple of episodes ago we talked about some of like the GTA leak stuff where people found that in the code or in the options there were like all the animal stuff that was in Red Dead 2. I think this trailer kind of like confirms that it's not just people, that like there's going to be like full AI for animals, and like if you go down to the swamp you're going to be able to, like, you know, hunt gators, or like you're going to see like all sorts of creatures, like all the Florida stuff, like snakes and whatever else. I think that's like a guarantee. And then you see like, you know, the lighting and like, you know, the foliage detail. It looks like an extension of what we saw in Red Dead 2.
It does. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that goes back to like the budget. Like you can't like this is Rockstar operating at a level of like, this game has like a blank check in terms of how much they can pour into it. And you see it in the detail in this trailer. Like you don't see detail in games at this level very often. Like you look at, even if you just like pause and you go and you look at, okay, what's happening on the street or like on the ground, and like you see, like cracks in the concrete and little rocks sitting there. Like if you go to like 105 or 106, 1 minute 6 seconds, like the detail like in like the just in the street itself. Like everything is on point.
I love the TV shots of like just this guy that's got obviously very cool tattoos, is confessing on screen in Spanish.
Yeah.
It's at 1 minute and 4 seconds. I hope there's a lot of this kind of stuff, and also I think I've just found my favorite sequence here. It's when the guy goes through the table at 1 minute exactly. Look at the lighting in that shot there. It's all red, and then all the objects after he goes through the table just spill onto the ground. I mean, this could be a cinematic shot, but I still look at that. The water splashing up.
Yep. It's bananas, right? Yeah, like it's incredible.
You know how I think it might have been last week or the week before. I was talking about how GTA 6 needs to have an impressive feature that isn't just Red Dead 2 graphics. This is, from what I've seen in this, and again, this is only 1 minute 30 to go off of, and it came out an hour ago, so might be looking at this through like rose-colored glasses or something like that. This is better graphics than Red Dead 2, I think. There's more objects on screen than Red Dead 2, and I think that might be just because of the setting of Red Dead 2's like it's Western. There's not a lot of stuff besides animals, and we're not in a city where you're rendering cups, you're rendering like nightclubs and stuff like that. That's more impressive than Red Dead 2 already. The social media feature, if they include that, and given how much they've shown of this, of like in terms of seconds of it being online in the world of Grand Theft Auto, maybe that's the impressive feature in game that I'm looking for.
And I mean, outside of that, the trailer obviously hints at what the story is going to be. So the trailer opens with Lucia, and she's one of the main protagonists. So this is the first female protagonist in a GTA game, and then it's kind of like a Bonnie and Clyde, or she's partnered with somebody who they definitely, because the final shot in the trailer, they're in bed, and so it looks like they are lovers as well. So like those will be the two main characters. Whether or not you switch between them based on the mission, or you can choose to play one or the other, remains to be seen. But I'm thinking that there'll be like you'll be able to switch. So it is like they are going to have like a full story, just like GTA 5, but this one looks to be based on people struggling and they're turning to a life of crime and robbery.
Breaking Bad,
Grand Theft Auto, etc. Like it's in the title.
Yeah, it is.
And if you look at the shot at 1 minute 17 or 18, when they're breaking through or busting through like a convenience store or a storefront with their guns and the bandanas, that is in game or in engine, because you can see the characters are kind of like, and the background, like it has that sort of like depth of field effects.
Yeah,
where like certain things are in focus and certain things aren't, but you can tell that that's in real time, because it's not a 100% like high end camera depth of field or movie style depth of field, even though it is, but you can sort of like tell that, okay, yeah, that's in game, because that's kind of like how the best depth of field effects currently work in games.
Yeah, I'm watching it in 0.25 at the moment, and you can see the on the outer edges
Yeah,
of
the outer
her
edges,
head.
like
Yeah,
like
the
that
grain
sort of
and the what is it called? Uh, what is it called? There's a name for it. Anyway, it's just a loss of quality, really, because other
That's
things
right,
are
yeah.
in focus, and the engine
That's
can
right,
only
because
do
you see
so
like
much.
the edge blurring kind of like shows you
That's
like
yeah,
that. That's how you
that's
can
similar.
tell that it's in game because edge blurring like that like isn't how like real depth of field.
No,
kinda,
well,
like,
they're
works.
they're in the if this was a cinematic thing, they would be so HD with hardly
Yeah.
any imperfections. We wouldn't be able to look at it for 2 seconds and go, "Oh yeah, that's in game." But for in game, that's really good because I look at if you pull back just a tad, look at all the writing on all of the doors here. It's like Logger Light Drake, $13.
stickers.
It's like that's all in focus, and still we're looking at like that's just extra stuff. Even the cars, with like small reflections in the doors and stuff like that. That's good for in game.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's bananas. I just had a look
Yeah.
at like the 20-second mark, just like going back to like the animal stuff, like where you see just like flocks of birds, like the screen is like full of like hundreds of them. Some flying, some grazing in the swamp or whatever. Like the foliage detail, like the dense trees in the background.
Mm.
Like
Oh,
it
yeah,
remains to
that's
be seen.
So
Yep.
good.
Yeah, so like there are like rumors that the Vice City in this game, the size of the world is multiple times bigger than what we saw in GTA 5, and Los Santos was huge in GTA 5. So I think that they've just spent so many years just building this world and the detail everywhere because you can just see it in every shot.
Do you think we'll
Um,
be able to like say these flamingos? I'm guessing they're flamingos, aren't they? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like in that shot. Yeah, that's why I didn't say flamingos.
I
'Cause
don't-
was like, are they? I think they are, but
let's say that they are. Do you think we will see the same level of animal skinning and I don't know, harvesting from the land as Red Dead Redemption 2? Because
so.
that would be interesting to incorporate into a GTA game because, if you're living in Vice City, for example, I suppose maybe people are going to be catching alligators and then selling the food and stuff like that. But I was thinking more so in-depth crime, like how much of a criminal can I become? Like I don't want to have to be going out into the land and hunting in GTA. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to. I want to be able to do it, but I don't want to be like, okay, well I've got to go get alligator meat because
yeah,
you know what I mean.
I think that that's a part of this game, but like I don't think it's like a focus. I think that it's that they've decided to incorporate a lot of those elements because of how Florida is kind of like notorious for like animals and like when you go out into the swamp that there's creatures and dangerous stuff there. So like, like for example, like there might be like, side stories like Grand Theft Auto is and Red Dead Redemption, Rockstar's brilliant at creating what we consider side quests, but they're kind of like incorporated into the story. Icon pops up and you're like, oh, what's this story? Well, you're going to come across like somebody who's living off the grid and you may like end up, like doing stuff like, survival type stuff.
Yeah.
If you choose to like, but I don't think it's like a main part of it. I mean, Grand Theft Auto, the story I am keen to play through because I really enjoyed GTA 4 and 5's storylines. But like, it's always the stuff around that you end up just having fun with.
Yeah, that's true. I suppose I was just trying to illustrate the difference between Red Dead's going out into the land hunting and all that. It's a quite a big part of the game, or at least that's how I played it. Because you get all your baggage, you get like most of your upgrades from doing all of that stuff. Well, I can imagine. I mean, also selling the pelts and all of that. It's a big aspect of the game that, from my playthrough, I noticed they were They spent a lot of time doing that,
Yes.
and in the setting of Grand Theft Auto, I can't really imagine my character like me wanting to go do that. If I was to like inject myself into that
Yeah.
world, I'd be like, no, I'm gonna go rob and steal
Yeah.
and
I think
just
that's what-
pillage the environment.
That's exactly the difference between Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead. So if you look at GTA 5, you look at Red Dead Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption 2 is a slow, measured, like the pacing is kind of like a Western where it's
Yeah.
wide angle shots, people riding in over the
Beautiful.
horizon. Beautiful, and you're kind of like immersed, and like every movement that Arthur makes is like measured when you get on the horse. Like it takes 3 or 4 seconds because every little movement is precise. Whereas Grand Theft Auto, like, and you see it in this trailer, is like you said, it's like I want to go out and just become a criminal, or
Yeah.
it is excess. It is satirical. It is Rockstar saying like here's a cartoon version of America that is also a realistic depiction of a lot of parts of American life.
Here's a world where everything went wrong, and now you're in it.
Yeah, and there's going to be elements in this game that are going to be headline in terms of people will be questioning the morality of the game, or what you can do versus what you can't do. And Rockstar will, as always, just remain quiet or just not comment. Because, GTA 5 had a few controversies about there was like sequences as Trevor where you could torture somebody to get information.
Yeah.
And you kind of had to.
Awesome.
And, it was confronting in a way because you're like, oh, well, what if I don't want to? But then you do it and you're like, well, you don't have to. It's not like what Rockstar is good at is like with GTA, like it taps into this thing with video games where you don't want to do any of this stuff in real life. You're not going to be
No.
right? Like, so
That's why
like,
I'm
it's
awful in game.
It's kind of like one of the best movies, Wolf of Wall Street with Leo DiCaprio, right? One of Scorsese's brilliant movie. Like you don't necessarily like he's not a likable person. Like it's not a great person, right? It's not like a philanthropist or somebody that you put on a pedestal. But the movie is presented, it stylizes it, it sensationalizes it, and it celebrates it cinematically. And Grand Theft Auto does the same thing. Like you're doing all this stuff, and it's presented in a fun way, but you're not meant to like take it seriously.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Completely agree. But yeah, I can't wait to get in here. I'm just going to be the worst person.
Oh, I think the only disappointing thing in this trailer is it says coming 2025.
That is the only disappointing thing.
If
Yeah.
it said holiday 2024, you'd be like, let's start the 12-month, 365-day countdown and let's get this party started.
Yeah, because if it is 2025, it's going to be this time of year in 2025. It's not going to come out like at the start of 2025.
It potentially might come out in the start because so if we look at Take-Two's financial, so there was like a financial report from Take-Two, Rockstar's parent company, probably about a year ago, and this could have changed, right? Or maybe it was 6 months ago, where they said financial year 2024 was going to be massive because of, but they didn't say why, and they said like they expect billions of dollars, and they don't say why, and then everybody's like, well, that has to be Grand Theft Auto, and that period runs from April 2024 to March 31st, 2025, I think is the financial year in the US.
Okay.
So potentially
makes
they
sense.
could be looking at like a March 1st, 2025 sort of launch, and that would, like in the space of its first month, it would make billions, right? Like this will,
Oh,
like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'll go
Bills.
out, I'll pre-order a copy, right? Like,
of course.
like everybody's
at
going to
it.
get it.
Everyone's
Yeah,
getting
like,
it.
why wouldn't you not, like, just based on this trailer,
Unless I can't get it on PC.
dude, like, okay, so
I'm not going to get
like,
it on console. I don't have a console to get it on. I need it on PC. I've got a 4090 in my computer.
when you sent me the link to the trailer, because they just dropped it, and they surprise dropped it, so not everybody knew about it. It had 180,000 views, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is fresh, like dropped an hour ago, and now an hour later, it's at 6.8 million.
Yeah, mine is at 6.8 as well, with 3.9 million likes. That ratio between likes and views is insane. Is insane.
Yeah. Incredible.
Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think that
incredible.
we'll have more to say on this trailer and in the coming future in more episodes. There's going to be more theorizing and things that we've missed. If you've noticed something, let us know.
Yeah, for sure. Head down to the comment
90-second
section.
trailer, and we've been talking for well over half an hour. I think like this. I mean, this episode was always going to be cannibalized.
Oh yeah.
By the
I'm
GTA
not
trailer.
even
As soon as it
done.
dropped.
I'm not even done on it yet.
I'm not done either. It's so good.
Grand Theft Auto 6 in-game footage leaked by child of Rockstar Games employee. It was an article I posted yesterday.
Yes.
Do you think this is a part of the reason why they released it? Because if you check out that footage, I still am unsure if that. I think it might be.
No, it looks like it. Yeah, the detail is kind of very similar, and apparently that employee is like he's been at Rockstar for ages, right? He's been the art director or an art director for like decades or something, and his job's now in because he's he's bad seed.
Well, I think that is a part of the reason why as well. It was just kind of like getting leaked, or it was leaking out,
Yes,
and then
definitely.
it fully leaked out, and then it got taken down, and then they're like, just
make it
release it,
live.
just do it now, just so if like we don't have to think
Yeah,
about
what
it
do they care?
anymore. Yeah.
And also as well, like the tweet when they tweeted out a few days ago, like so if the trailer hadn't dropped, we would have just mentioned that like the trailer's coming soon because they tweeted the time and everything, and that's like the most popular gaming X post or tweet of all time, basically.
That is
Just saying that they're
awesome.
going to launch a trailer, and the artwork that they used, like it's like sort of like classic synth wavy, like like palm trees and sunset purples and oranges and that sort of like trailer one. Rockstar, like here's the date and time. That's already been copied by a bunch of other game companies. So like the Halo team used the same sort of like color scheme to say Halo trailer dropping next week because the Game Awards are this week. So they're like all these companies are using the exact same
That's funny.
like
That's
art
very
style
funny.
to just announce like the good trailers coming.
Oh, yeah. I suppose imitation is a form of flattery.
Oh, it's definitely a form of flattery.
Yeah. We should move on to the rest of the news that is out before we run out of time. I want to flex straight into the Cybertruck. That's where I want to go.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. So the time is finally here. Tesla is finally beginning to deliver its Cybertrucks. And, well, I don't know what you think about the design of the Cybertruck. I personally love it, but
It straddles a line between silly and cool. You know what I mean?
yes.
Like it's boxy enough to be. It's like it's interesting, like it's unique. But like I also think it's kind of like silly. Like well, it's almost like you'd have to have a level of confidence just to be able to drive it around.
Yeah.
Like like if you're driving around in like I drive like a Corolla hatchback, right? It's a decent car, like I mean,
It works. Gets you from
It
A
works.
to B.
yeah.
Yeah.
But like I'm not driving around going, "Hey, look at me." But like if you're in the Cybertruck, everybody's looking at you, right? Like
Oh, for sure.
I would be too self-conscious probably to drive it.
Yeah, it is. It's a truck that's definitely going to change the way that the roads look when there is a lot on the roads. I don't think necessarily in Adelaide, maybe in Sydney and Melbourne, maybe. But we're talking about this is $100,000 US truck if you're going to get the Beast version. This is a expensive pickup truck. And so there's a few details that changed, and a lot of people, including myself, are quite upset at Tesla for doing this because there was a bunch of pricing and specs, preliminary specs that were released, I don't know, months ago. And then the delivery event come out, and then we got the finalized specs and pricing. and it was completely different. So all the people, the million people that put down, I think it was $150 deposit, completely refundable.
Yeah.
They kind of got gypped in a way because at the delivery event, they thought they were buying X price for X price and specs, and then the delivery event comes out and it's different. It's more expensive. You get a little it's a little bit faster, and I'm talking like 0.1 of a second, 0.2 of a second faster. But for the majority of it, we got what Tesla said, beside a few changes. But still, I mean, it's weird that they even did that. Usually they overcompensate.
Yeah, but isn't the fact that because it was a concept, right? Like it was never...
yeah.
Like the fact that they actually
But don't take deposits for it then.
Yeah, the fact that they actually made it and released it in as quick as they have is impressive. Because, like, I mean, it is a new style of vehicle, right? Like, I mean, the shape and how it... Like, just everything about it is different.
Yeah,
so the fact that it's like... So when they first unveiled, say, like, this is what it's going to look like, at that point, it's like... Well, this is what it's going to look like, but it's not working yet. Like we don't,
we still
have to fine tune the kinks and everything else. So like, I don't fault them for changing or thingo because like, I mean, the end product looks impressive. Like, you know, the promises of like your news piece there about, you know, how tough it is.
Oh yeah,
how it can like withstand bullets and stainless steel plates.
So unnecessary. So there's a few things I want to touch on with the bullet thing. But before I do that, I want to talk about the change that they did between the initial announcement and the delivery event. The original Cybertruck was going to ship without, what are they called? The mirrors on the side of the car.
How?
What do you mean how?
So what are you supposed to do with that mirrors on the side of the car?
Well, it's got cameras around the entire car, so you can look at it on your dash. But the US regulatory agency, I think it was like the Department of Transportation or whatever it is over there, said you got to ship the car with side mirrors. So what Tesla did is they shipped the Cybertruck with side mirrors, but you can just walk up to the side mirror and then like push in a button and then just take it off if you want to.
Right.
And then that will initiate the cameras. I think it is completely legal to, at least in the US, to drive without side mirrors, but...
So it's just a loophole, like you can't have a car, you can't, release a car or vehicle without side mirrors, but you can drive around without side mirrors.
Yes, you need to ship the car with side mirrors, but no one can stop you tearing them off. As for other, I suppose let's call it, I don't want to say the last point was a problem, but the Cybertruck has like a canopy kind of thing. I can't remember the specific name for it, but you can press a button or the touchscreen somewhere, and a cover, an automatic cover, will come in over the tray at the back. That completely blocks out your revision. So there is no revision mirror anymore. It's on your screen. So if you're driving on the left side, your screen will have a permanent revision mirror. So for you to be backing up or whenever you want to check the revision mirror, instead of you looking up now, you got to look down. So it's kind of like a little muscle memory remap that you have to do. What was really impressive to me was the fact that it beat a Porsche 911 while towing a Porsche 911 over a quarter mile.
Yeah. For something that's like basically a tank, right? That's impressive.
Yeah. It's a tank. It weighs like 8,000 pounds or something like that. Hold on, I'll pull up the stat.
But like with that, would you, if you're given, two options right now, like, hey, Jack, you can have a Porsche 911 color that you want, decked out exactly how you want, or the Cybertruck, which would you pick?
Ooh, right now I really want a Cybertruck, but
long term.
But a Porsche 911 is nice.
Yeah,
it's nice.
It's iconic.
Yeah, it is. It is nice. So the Cybertruck weighs 6,843 pounds, and we'll get that in kilos for you right now. Here we go. Pounds in kilos. That's 3,103 kilograms. It's 3 tons, dude. So now with the weight, we've established that it is bulletproof. It was tested with a 45 caliber Tommy gun. Blocked all the bullets. 9mm Glock blocked all the bullets. There was no there was no penetration. There was some penetration on the buckshot from the, I think it was an M4 shotgun, but the only reason it penetrated was because a pellet hit the exact same spot where pellet has previously hit. But it didn't. What was that? Sorry.
How long before we start seeing reports about this being the vehicle of choice for cartel?
Probably. The pellet penetrated the stainless steel, but it didn't actually go through the door. And then they demonstrated that. But with basically any other car, you can just shoot straight through both doors. Right. So all the movies where they're like hiding behind their door and they're like bang, 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 that's all fake. Unless you got a Cybertruck. With that being established, it's tough. It weighs a lot. Tons, literally tons. What is going to happen when this car collides with another car?
Yeah, or a pedestrian.
It is going to be like running into one of them really old cars, you know, like the ones that are literally made of steel. And
well, they don't have crumple zones, and basically all the force goes into your neck.
Yes, essentially. So because we're not going to know this for quite some time, because I think they're delivering, I think they plan on delivering, I think it's 25 or 10 or something like that. It's below 50 before the end of the year, but then they're going to exponentially ramp up production. We're not going to know until there's probably 10,000, 50,000 Cybertrucks on the road before we start to see, okay, this one got in a car accident. Here's what happened. But
you reckon it's going to be a disaster?
Oh my God, yes, of course. It's bulletproof. Whatever runs into this at full speed, or if the Cybertruck runs into something or someone at full speed, it is going to be catastrophic for both the person driving the Cybertruck, unless Tesla have some magic airbags, or can somehow distribute the energy that is put into the car. I'm interested to see what the shell is going to turn into after it's crashed, because there is huge panels. Like, I think the side panel on the side of the Cybertruck is like the one that goes above the window, the passenger window or the driver's window. That's all one big piece. Okay. So it's like, it's not very disjointed besides the doors and stuff like that. So when this hits something and it's traveling at, I don't know, 100 Ks an hour or even 60 Ks an hour, oh my God, Costa, it's going to obliterate. Imagine if that hit your Corolla.
Oh, it'd be over for the Corolla.
And you.
And me.
You'd be done. You'd be hit by a tank that is silent and can do like 0 to 100 in like 2.9 seconds, 2.6 seconds. Yeah, so to expand out more. Sorry.
Like, with the side mirror thing, do you think it's actually legal to have one in Australia then? Does this comply with Australian vehicle laws?
I have no idea.
You'd assume that ours are a bit more stringent than the Wild West that is the US.
Yeah, for sure. I have no idea, but yeah, that's what I have been reading and researching, that you can take them off. But to expand out more, imagine if I don't think it would be a safer world if everyone was driving a Cybertruck.
No,
I don't think it would be
like
safer.
Said, like, if it's like a tank, my concern is that, like, based on what you're saying now, is that like what about if you're driving and you get into an accident, right? Like, is your back going to be ruined from a little bump? Yeah. Like, you know, you're going to get whiplash, you're going to get like you're going to have lifelong spinal issues just because you're driving this thing that doesn't have proper crumple zones, or it wasn't designed to protect the driver over the car or over the vehicle. So like, like now modern vehicles, like you're saying, like the old steel cars, right? They were tanks, right? Because you could like drive into a fence and the car will have a scratch on it, but the fence will be absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
But like that impact that force has to go somewhere, and it goes into the driver. So now you got cars that if you get into a little minor accident, like your front will be completely ruined or fully crumpled, but you'd be fine, right? But your car is a write-off. So like that's the win-win situation with modern vehicles, is that sure, like the cars like will break or like, crush like without very much at all, but the impact to you is minimized.
I think that's a very good
zones,
trade.
You've got airbags. I think, whereas this Cybertruck sounds like if you smack into a wall, there will be airbags, but the force will just go straight up your spine and do some damage.
I'm very concerned about people driving around in a bulletproof car.
Yes.
And like just getting into accidents for the driver of the Cybertruck and also the person that is unfortunately colliding with it. We're not going to know that, like I said earlier, we're not going to know that until there's probably even 100,000 for even to be a noticeable issue.
Yep.
Where they're like, oh God.
Yeah, there has to be heaps of them before you start seeing stats.
Because usually with a like brand new car, it rolls out. And I'm hardly a car person. The only reason I'm interested in the Cybertruck is because it's more tech than it is. Like I like EVs. I don't know anything about combustion engines, but from the reporting that I have done and the research that I have done on vehicles, usually when one is released, there is the initial rollout, and then they start to notice more problems as there is 10,000, 50,000, 100,000 vehicles on the road. And then they got to do a recall on a certain aspect of that car that is causing problems, whatever that issue is. So regulators come in when there is, I don't know, 1,000 or 5,000 incidents that are popping up that can then be traced back to a certain component or something like that. And then they go, you got to get rid of that. And then Toyota are like, well, we got to do a recall. So then
I think that the odds of this having a recall are pretty high then. I mean, my Corolla had a recall, right? I had to take it in because there's some component, like 4 years later, it's like, hey, X blah, blah, blah needs to be replaced. And you're like, okay, like bring it in, they do it. And I mean, based on how new this is, like the chances of there being like a recall to fix something or other is pretty high.
Yeah, I completely agree. I'm very excited to see it. I think it's an incredible feat of engineering. I think what it can do, especially with this electricity, it's battery charging. It's like you can give your house power with the Cybertruck. You can output that much power that you can run your entire home from a Cybertruck, which is just ridiculous. You can also charge other EVs with it.
That's pretty cool.
It's got some really nice features, but it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything that a pickup truck already doesn't do, and also what a Tesla doesn't do. Like, yes, it comes with all the self-driving features and all of that, but they're in Teslas now.
Yep.
This feels kind of like, from looking at the specs, what it can do, the design, it feels like a very complicated engineering problem that Tesla created for themselves to differentiate from the rest of the pickup truck market, because they're competing with the most popular car in the United States, which is the Ford F-150. Yep. That's the most popular vehicle in the US.
Yeah, because they're crazy for their pickup trucks.
They love them. They love them over there. So for them to differentiate themselves, they created a pickup truck with a bunch of engineering issues that they needed to overcome, which they did. They have. And that's the impressive feat.
Yeah. I think that's the best way to describe the Cybertruck, is that it's an engineering problem created by themselves for themselves to solve.
Exactly right. It's like they overcomplicated it, overcomplicated the process to...
There was no need for it.
Yeah, there is no need for it, but Tesla's brand. That's what they do. They will take a car and then they'll go, okay, how do we Tesla this? They're kind of like the Apple of vehicles, I suppose. They put that Tesla shine on it. Like, it has the impressive 2.6 seconds to like quarter mile in under 11 seconds. That's ridiculous for a pickup truck. But that's that Tesla. I don't know. I don't want to say it's a gimmick because it's extremely impressive, but for all intents and purposes, a gimmick. It's like, when are you ever actually going to be doing that? That's like, you get your friends in your car and be like, all right, hold on, watch this. Boop. Like, that's the use of that.
Yeah. I mean, like, a lot of these cars are useless in Australia. It's like our speeding laws and speeding is just like so.
I would never be able to do this.
Like, what are you going to do? Like 0 to 100 miles per hour? Is that what it is? 0 to 100 miles per hour? Or 0 to 100 Ks?
Yeah.
So, like, that's even like, we're not going to be going, we can't go 100 miles per hour in Australia.
No.
It's basically 50 is kind of like the limit, isn't it? Like, whatever 100 kilometers per hour.
120, I think. It depends on the state. Some states have.
Yeah, but just like suburban driving or like just
freeway
driving.
Yeah,
like,
that's 50, 60 Ks.
You have to go out into the country to even get close to like getting a 120 sign here now. Yeah,
to open it up. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the Cybertruck. And just to summarize it, I personally love the design. I think it looks futuristic. It looks like we're looking at the future of vehicles on the road. I think it's epic that Tesla has created this vehicle and it works and it comes out. It looks cool. It drives well, apparently, from what I've read. Bit upset about the pricing changes and the spec sheet.
Yep.
Considering the deposits. We expect there will be some kind of recall when there is enough problems that come up. I'm just excited to see it just roll out. I think it'll be cool. I think it'll be very cool. All right, what else do we have next on the menu here?
Can we do just a quick break and be right back?
Sure, go for it, man. And we are back. Sorry about that. We just had to take a quick bathroom break. We are ready to get into the next story of this episode, the Fallout TV show. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, so Amazon is launching a Fallout TV show in April next year. Now, with the recent Last of Us series on HBO, and there's a few other examples now, like video game adaptations into movies and TV shows, is almost a good idea now because you can make something really, really good. So Fallout TV show is the showrunner is Jonathan Nolan, Christopher Nolan's brother, who did Westworld for HBO, and it also has involvement from Todd Howard and Bethesda. And so they dropped a 2.5-minute teaser trailer for the Fallout TV show. And if you're a fan of the Fallout games, if you've played Fallout 4 in particular, the art style will be very, very familiar, especially because the trailer shows Brotherhood of Steel, power armor, like the Vault Tech uniforms, like the blue and yellow. But the trailer also leans into some of the comedy from the series. Like, the series has always been a little bit over the top. We got like the giant bugs, you got gore, and also as well, like one of the coolest things is that actor Walter Goggins, he's playing a ghoul in the show. And the ghoul makeup, you see like that shot of him, like, without the nose and stuff, actually looks really, really cool.
Yeah, I like that.
And I'm hyped for it. I think it's a really good trailer. Like, it sets the tone. I think it captures the Fallout tone really, really well.
I agree. There's some shots in here that I think is very questionable CGI, but overall, pretty impressive. Like show. The first, I know, but like the CGI. If this is $1 billion budget, the CGI shouldn't be terrible. You know what I mean? Like, this is the same critiques I had about like Amazon's Lord of the Rings show.
Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I think this is different.
Yeah,
so this wouldn't be anywhere near the same sort of budget, but I think it's also more of a
like the shots of the door
in baskets,
within the first 10 seconds, like of that door opening, and then
the vault door.
Yeah, it walks through it. That looks ass. That looks terrible. That looks so bad. And so does the bug where it climbs through the window. That looks like a PS2 bug. But then you've got very impressive shots, like I think when the helicopter takes off is very good.
The vertibirds, they're the Brotherhood of Steel.
The Fallout suits, the classic, and the hands when the dog's holding the hands. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, it does, but then it does that shot at 1:19 where it looks like it's from like the PlayStation 3 or something like that, where the blood spurts up onto the thing and it's in this field. Yeah. I don't know. I think the CGI will be off and on this TV show from what I can see from this.
Yeah. Like one of the cool shots for me is like at the 125 where she's with the main character, she's walking through and you see kind of like, it looks like a makeshift shanty town with like a plane, like the front part of a plane. And
that's
kind of
good.
looks like Megaton from Fallout 3, where it's just like people have just created like this little scrap town based on like wreckage. That looks really good. That looks like a real sort of like set.
Yeah.
And the shots of like, the more Western shots of like
him shooting.
The Gaul stuff looks really, really cool. I have
all the
high hopes for it.
all the gore as well looks pretty decent.
Yeah,
no, I'm excited for it.
The shot of the red, like the what are the bears called in Fallout?
I don't know. I've hardly played the series. I think I played 3, but I was never really big into it. I'm a swords and sandals. I was always Skyrim and Oblivion and all that. I'm not really.
I'm a huge Fallout fan. I can't believe I remember what. Yeah, so like the bear, like the irradiated bear, dragging the guy in a power armor suit. That's really cool.
I like that. I like all the fingers.
The thing with Fallout is that like it has that sort of 1940s look to everything, where everything's like big and bulky, like all the technology looks like an alternate history from like the 1940s and 50s. Yeah, and the show is like sort of like capturing that look from the Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 games, and the tone as well, which is also supposed to be satirical or funny, as well as dramatic and serious. And I think it looks pretty good. And Jonathan Nolan, he did Westworld, but he's also credited on a bunch of Chris Nolan's bigger films as a co-screenwriter. So I have high hopes for it to be fairly well written too.
Well, I hope it's better than the Lord of the Rings TV show because that was upsetting. Prime, Amazon really is
The Boys.
Yeah, it needs to be.
More like The Boys, and maybe that's why they said from the studio from The Boys.
Well,
like
maybe
know
it's
that
people
same
love
sort
it.
of tone, and perhaps like the success of The Boys has kind of like, so like Amazon will be like like it's fine if it's like a hard R sort of thing, because the Fallout games are like really bleak and violent, and as well as funny.
Well, it would get boycotted if it wasn't bleak and violent.
If it was like sanitized, if it was kind of like a PG version of Fallout.
Yuck! Don't do that. Don't do that. All right.
So that's pretty cool. That's something else to look forward to.
That's very good. Should we go to the 4090s? Another update on the continuous 4090 stories that we are.
Bulletin report is the latest on the 4090s. So, as we've been covering multiple weeks now, the 4090 was too powerful for China, so it folded under new US government restrictions. So they no longer export or sell it in the region. And it was like other countries involved too, but the big focus is on China because they're a huge market for PC gaming. And so there are reports that NVIDIA is going to release a new GeForce RTX 4090D in China. D because it's the year of the dragon in 2024, and they're targeting early next year. And it's using a GPU chip AD102-250. Now, that's just a acronym that, or the chip names that are you can find in all the GeForce cards. So the GeForce 4090, the current one is like AD102-300, and the 4080 is like AD103, and then you go down the stack, for the different models. So 80.102.250 indicates that it's a cut down version, obviously. So
Okay.
they would be cutting down the 4090 to fit within the restrictions, to be like
Oh wow,
probably
they're
push
gimping
it to the absolute limit, to say that, okay, now this is safe to sell, even, and then factoring some overclocking and potentially maybe reconfiguring some of the VRAM or whatever the case is, just to get it through the door, and basically relaunch it in the region as the
Wow.
4090D, and that might end up coming globally too. Like who knows?
So there's going to be cut down 4090s.
Yeah,
How is this
Just
going to
to-
compare to the 4080?
it'll be more powerful still. Yeah.
Do you know the performance, just roughly off the top of your head, performance difference between the 4080, 4090?
It's about 20-30%. It's almost like a generation.
So we can expect, what, a 10% cut down in performance?
Probably, yeah. Like, it depends like how much they have to cut it down to fit within the regulation.
Well, how close is the 4080 to being banned? Is it
It's
like
well within? No, it's well
well
within.
well
It's
within?
fine.
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe it's only 5-10% then.
Yeah, yeah. And they wouldn't cut it down severely. They'd cut it down to the point that they can release it
Yeah.
in the region.
Yeah, you'd only go to the line. You wouldn't go to the line and then bit more some. No, you
And
go
this-
right on that level.
Yeah. Yeah, and this follows recent moves by NVIDIA in the region too. So like, the H100, which is one of the most popular and sought after AI GPUs. So like, everybody's buying them by the truckloads. OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, Apple, whoever is like buying tens of thousands of these H100 GPUs. That's the Hopper.
Yeah.
And then you got the Grace Hopper, which is also now rolling out. And so those were effectively like banned in China like a while ago, and then NVIDIA kind of like released like an A100, like a super cut down, because like it wasn't just the H100, it was like pretty much all the AI GPUs that can't sell in the region. So then they redesigned a AI GPU just to fit within that market for China. Then that I think effectively got banned as well, which is what led to this new regulation. And so then there's all this report about this 4090D. And so just to add another wrinkle, so just yesterday, the US Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo basically said that if you're redesigning GPUs that can be used, or hardware that can be reused for AI to sell in China, we're going to put a stop to that.
Why?
Raimondo said, I know there are CEOs of chip companies who were a little cranky with me when I did the regulations, because you're losing revenue, such as
Yeah.
life. Protecting our national security matters more than short-term revenue. And then she added, if you redesign a chip around a particular cut line that enables them to do AI, I'm going to control it the very next day. So
Why,
that's basically
though?
a threat to say. So NVIDIA's got like a H20 AI GPU to China,
Yeah.
which is designed for China. So that's the one that was designed for China, and so there's been delays, or they're trying to get those chips out there, and they're severely cut down compared to like what you can get elsewhere, right? So you can get the H100 and all; they're way more powerful. So now with the 4090D and this other chip that NVIDIA is making, the US government saying, well, if that's what you're doing, then we're just going to ban those two.
Yeah, but what is the motive? Like, what is the motivation to do this?
Yeah, then you get into like political,
Why?
right? It's like they don't want China to have AI. They don't want to be like.
Yeah, but they're even cut down though. Like, what did they change the
Yeah.
goalpost? They're
That's
like,
right.
oh,
They
your
don't want
4090 is
like-
too powerful. But
It's
if we
like,
cut it down and make it to where we said it's all good, that's
This
also
com-
too powerful.
Yes, but this is like, I mean, without getting into political ideology and things like that. I mean, the US government is all about, if they decide to sanction a country, they go hard, right?
I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah, that's what they do. So them being bullish like this is like in their wheelhouse, especially when it comes to China. And it's disappointing, but like, yeah, like, I mean,
You're also
don't see
stunting the growth
why
for
not,
NVIDIA
yeah.
by doing this as well. I think I mentioned that last week on the podcast. But yeah, this is bizarre. But I think, did you read the update at the top of Anthony's article here? It's a bit of a PR response. From NVIDIA.
Yeah, I just got updated. Yeah. NVIDIA spokesman reached out to me shortly after this story went live. We are engaged with the US government and, following the government's clear guidelines, are working to offer compliant data center solutions to customers worldwide.
That's just a bit
Pretty
of
generic statement.
That doesn't even make sense. What did they even say?
What does that mean? Yeah. So we're going to comply. But the government's saying we're going to shut you down everywhere you go.
And we're going to comply
with it. Yeah. I mean, it is like a touchy subject, I guess. Like, if you, depending on how you view US-China relations, but like from a pure like technical perspective, like surely there are AI researchers or corporations or groups within China that could be doing good work, right? Like, it's not like you don't have like a billion.
They're not all bad people.
Yeah, like, and like, you know, and or you've got like people that just want to play Cyberpunk with RT Overdrive mode enabled.
That's 90% of them. 90% are just gamers just wanting a 4090, and they want they're like me. They just want more frames and better graphics.
Yeah. What are they going to like train AI to destroy the world or something? Like, this is not...
No, probably. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
Like, we're like, you know, like, we just like, the technology is like cool, and we're like interested in seeing like where it goes and how it can help in certain industries and stuff. Like, the political side of it is just like, it's just
I'm just
so
a
messy
geek,
and, like,
man.
like,
I'm just a geek.
Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't get it. And sure, like, you know, there's tensions between these two superpowers, and, you know, China's going to overtake the US, and the US is going to remain in control. Like, this is all just seems like...
Just chill out, China.
Cut it out. This is all like...
Cut it out, China.
Those fat cats sitting around a big board table, moving pieces around, playing like a boardroom game of Risk.
US, cut it out.
Bring those chips back here.
We're sick of it. We just want better tech. China, stop it, dude.
We want everybody to play... You know, so we want everybody to be able to play GTA 6.
That's all we want. That's
on
all
a
we want.
4090D.
We're not even asking about. Not even asking.
I don't want you to restrict them, even though GTA 6 will probably be banned in China.
Oh, probably, yeah, straight away. All right. Is that all you got on that one?
Yeah. We're powering through them.
All right. Let's go. Elon Musk, SpaceX may stop humans going to the moon in 2025. So there's a few things here that I want to talk about. Most of them are disappointing, but so long and the short of it is the US Government Accountability Office has essentially thrown a wet blanket on NASA's plans on returning humans to the surface of the moon for the first time in 50 years since the Apollo missions. The original timeline was going to be 2025, and now it's looking like 2027, and that has mostly to do, and not entirely to do, with SpaceX's development of the human landing system, which is essentially a modified Starship launch vehicle that we covered. I think it was maybe last episode or the episode before. They did their second orbital test where it gained altitude and successfully disconnected, like the booster fell off, and then we just had Starship, but then exploded. Anyway, the human landing system is a modified version of Starship, and according to the Government Accountability Office, which is essentially a regulatory agency that picks and combs through NASA's plans, and I'm not sure. The only time I've written about them is to do with NASA, but so I'm guessing they do that with other agencies as well.
Yeah.
But they come in, look at NASA's schedule, look at the developments for the technologies that they're making, and go, well, that also can take into account their budget. Well, yeah, this is lining up, but this isn't. And then they identify key areas that are lacking in development. So according to their report that was released on November 30, there is key problems with the human landing system, which is, and specifically the transportation to the surface of the moon. So, and also there's other problems with including larger oxygen tanks within spacesuits by astronauts. So I'm not sure what's going on there exactly, but that is an area of development that the Government Accountability Office flagged. The current plan for Artemis 3 is convoluted. It is all over the place. So Starship launches from the surface of the planet, but because Starship is going to burn, or the HLS, the Human Landing System, is going to burn all of its fuel exiting Earth's orbit, it then needs to refuel with a fuel depot that is already in orbit to then have enough fuel to go to the moon. So there's another problem.
So disappointing.
There's another problem that lays within this. According to the report from the Government Accountability Office, SpaceX has made little progress in figuring out how to transfer propellant while in orbit. So there's a few big problems, like getting the... Well, one, we haven't even got Starship to orbit yet. That's big problem already. It keeps exploding. Still progress is being made, so thumbs up there, SpaceX. But getting it from space to the surface of the moon, big gaping issue there. Spacesuits aren't ready and don't appear to be ready in time for the launch of 2025. The fuel depot, SpaceX doesn't know how it's going to connect the HLS to the fuel depot to refuel. And all of those problems mean that we're now looking at a launch window in 2027. So a delay of 2 years, and hopefully the budget doesn't just run out. Disappointing news. It's that humans haven't landed on the surface of the moon for 50 years, and
50 years, yeah.
I wasn't alive for that, and it is something that I've always wanted to. I mean, I definitely won't be sitting around a television to watch it, but I will be watching it nonetheless, live streamed.
Yeah, I'll be live streaming it on my television.
Yeah,
OLED, big screen OLED.
Absolutely,
that moon, baby.
Absolutely. I'll be blowing it up on the biggest display that I have. But the live stream quality for something like such a monumental human achievement is something that I want to see in my lifetime. And I mean, I'm only 25. Hopefully I'm alive by 2027. that would be tragic.
It's disappointing. Just the other day, right? I was speaking to my brother, and he was like, oh yeah, the moon landing 2025, lock it in. That's going to be so cool. We're talking about actually the moon for ages, watching, as you do when you talk about the moon. Did we go? Did they land? Is this footage? The usual story.
Yeah.
If we don't have 3 or 4 hours spare to go into it at the moment.
No, we do not.
To discuss what do we think about the moon landing and the Apollo missions. But yeah, it's just, I'm hyped for it. I just want to see, I'm the same. I think we're all the same. Anybody that obviously just grew up hearing secondhand that, we went to the moon 20, 30 years ago or 40 years ago, and that's all right? Is back in the late 60s or early 70s, that's when people went on the moon, and it's that's a different time, that's a different era. We don't have a connection to that time or place, or that world. The only connection we have is either through our parents or looking at old photos, or it's all secondhand. It's yes, that is humanity and that's history, but we're not connected to it. And if you're interested in space travel, if you look up at the stars and you're in awe of what's potentially out there, even just something like landing on the moon and being able to see it and know that it's happening right now, or this is what it looks like, or here's footage from 30 minutes ago, or here's footage from 2 days ago from the moon. How just amazing and inspiring that would be.
Oh, definitely.
right? And
Absolutely.
it'll just inspire so many people, a whole new generation. So just delaying it by 2 years is kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is. You couldn't have put it better. Like,
Based on
I've
what
got
you
nothing.
said, now I'm just worried because it's like if all this shit's not working. It's 2 years. Like surely, like the 2025 thing, like if that was happening, all this stuff would have had to been sorted out a year ago, right?
Oh, I mean,
Because
NASA
these
development
windows have
is
to be
tragic.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah. I'm disappointed.
They like at the current. This is the last line I wrote in the article, and I don't think we have mentioned this episode yet, but all the news that we've talked about today is found in the description below, and you can visit all those articles for future further reading. So the Government Accountability Office states that if significant progress isn't made on the HLS program and at SpaceX, because there's obviously more private contractors that are involved in different aspects of the development, it would be unlikely for Artemis 3 to launch in 2025. And at the current, maybe I didn't include that in the piece, but at the current rate of NASA development timelines, this isn't really surprising per se. Like, stuff gets delayed all the time, but nonetheless, it is disappointing, especially with something as important as humans stepping foot and, you know, stretching the distance of which pioneers have traveled. Like, space is the last frontier. There is nothing else out there, well, that we haven't discovered on Earth besides going into the core.
We should be talking about like the human Mars mission happening like next year or something. That's where we should be, right?
Oh, I mean, it's far away from that. It's far away. We haven't been to the moon in 50 years. We're landing on a planet that is, I mean, I think it's 3 times distance to Mars. Yeah, it's about 100 distance to moon. I think the moon is 250,000 k's. 384,000 kilometers is the moon. And Mars is 374,000,000.57. So yeah, bit further. Bit
when
further.
You put it like that, it's like okay.
It's a bit further. That's why it's gonna take like 3 or 4 months to get to Mars. But I think it will only take us maybe even a couple days. I think it'll be a couple days.
Is it like a week to get to the moon, something like that?
I don't know. It depends on how fast the HLS is going.
Yeah.
Let's just do an approximation. How long does it take to get to the moon? About 3 days.
Okay, that's not too bad. It's a road trip. It's driving from Melbourne to Queensland, to Brisbane. Yeah. You know, with ample stops though.
That's about it. That's all I've got on that story. Just a bit of disappointing space news. Did you have any other stories you wanted to get into this week?
We're running out. We'll just close on Windows 12 because that was in
good call.
The headline. So something happening sooner rather than later. So the moon mission might not be happening, but we're going to get Windows 12. So, you know,
thank God.
Look on the bright side.
Thank God.
So the source of this is weird. So like the Commercial Times is a Taiwanese publication, like a financial publication, and they report things factually. So it's kind of like a Business Insider or whatever the case is. They don't peddle in rumor, or like they're not like a tech outlet that just posts speculation or, you know, whatever's happening. So they opened up a new article about AI PCs, and they basically said with confidence that Microsoft's Windows 12 is launching in June 2024. There is lots of rumors that Windows 12 is coming next year, but the article seems kind of genuine because it cites Acer CEO and Quanta, which is a huge tech company, at a recent exhibition, that the next year is going to be the first year of AI PCs, and which is a strange concept, right? So basically, AI acceleration in GPUs and CPUs is becoming a thing. So like Intel's next generation of mobile their Media Lake mobile processors that are out have like dedicated AI hardware. AMD's new Ryzen chips have like AI stuff in them. The next gen Ryzen CPUs, which will be out next year most likely, will have AI hardware in it. Same with whatever Intel's going to push out next year as well. And obviously, Radeon GPUs, the current generation, has AI acceleration. And, NVIDIA, who's one of the leaders, and one of the reasons for that is, they've had Tensor Cores and AI hardware since 2018 available off the shelf and commercially. So what these AI PCs will be is that you'll have access to generative AI tools and features, and potentially you may require a certain class of hardware to be able to install Windows 12 or have access to all of its features. So Windows 12 will be an extension of Windows 11. It's in the next version, and it will incorporate AI at a level that we're starting to see in Windows 11. So there's Copilot now in Windows. If you're on laptop or your PC is updated to the latest version, or if you're opting into all the latest updates, Copilot is just like an AI tool. It sits on the right side of the screen, and you can use it to basically kind of like how it's like having your own Chat GPT, but for your PC and everything like that. And, I posted an article, which I'll link to it as well. Microsoft Paint, this program from the 1980s, the most basic image editor in the history. It's so basic.
I use it every day.
Everybody uses it, right? It's like, it's so lo-fi. It's awesome, right? So that has got a new tool in it. Like DALL-E is integrated into Windows Paint. If you update to the latest version, there is a co-designer button on the right, and it's simple to use, just like everything else in Microsoft Paint, where you type in your thinger and it generates the image, and then you can change between like pixel art or oil painting, and everybody gets only like 40 credits now, so it's not like unlimited. And I don't know how you get new credits, but that's basically to say that, if Microsoft Paint is getting AI features now as like rolling it out
Windows
as like
12.
a test, Windows 12 is going to have AI in basically every aspect of it, from not only just Edge or like browsing the internet, not only just Copilot, but
it's going to be integrated
into Office 365, Microsoft Word, things like that. But then also like Paint or like even like Notepad might end up getting like AI or whatever the case is.
Yeah, this is why they made a $10 billion investment in OpenAI. Of course, they're going to do this.
Yeah. And so the Windows 11 adoption is kind of slow. So like there's way more Windows 10 users out there right now than there are Windows 11 by at least 2-to-1 factor, right?
Wow.
So, or maybe even more. Like there was a recent study or number from about a month ago or two where it said like, Windows 11 is still about 70% of the market. Oh, we're sorry, Windows 10. And if you look at the Steam, let me just bring up the Steam hardware survey. Yeah. Which is just to show you like PC gamers, right? It's a little bit because PC gamers adopt new things quicker than most people when it comes to tech. Windows 10 is still sitting at 53%, but Windows 11 is rapidly increasing. It's now 42%. It's actually increased by 11% since the previous numbers of the Steam hardware survey.
Do you think that's because of this leak? Well, not leak, this report?
Well, like maybe because of like AI features, like people are jumping onto Windows 11 because of.
Question. You have here that it will, and you said earlier that it will require, that it could require some form of baseline AI readiness on the CPU or GPU front. Now, do you think they would choose GPU because there are more RTX owners? It's like they could take
potentially,
they could take advantage of the fact that there's a certain percentage of PC gamers that are already have AI accelerated cores. Like I don't
out there like laptops or have like NVIDIA GPUs, right?
Exactly right.
And I think based on like if they're going like if Windows 12 is going to differentiate itself as the AI OS, it's like Microsoft's next. It'll be a pretty major update because Windows 10 to 11 was iterative. It was more of like, oh, here's a slightly different version of Windows 10, basically.
Reskinned.
It had a bunch of other features. They integrated, on the gaming side, they integrated Xbox and that sort of stuff a bit better than Windows 10. But that's separate. But if Windows 12 is like this major AI thing, And that's the selling point, is that, if you're a generative AI and you want access to desktop versions, of DALL-E and ChatGPT and things where it's actually using your PC hardware as well as the cloud, it's not 100% reliant on cloud-based generative AI, then there might be a check. It would be like, is my PC ready for Windows 12? Like they did it for Windows. They do it for every version.
Yeah, they
right?
do
And
it.
it's going to check your memory. So you'll have to have and the problem will be that if it's just purely CPU, you will actually probably need a CPU release.
That's what I don't want to have to do.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'll choose that one.
That's why I'm just putting two together. It's you don't want to limit your customer base,
exactly
right? If it's a huge release. So if it's GPU related as well, then it'll be as long as you got a Tensor cores, or you got a Radeon GPU with AI acceleration in it, or even Intel Arc GPUs have AI acceleration.
Surely, there's already a bunch of owners of those that have those ready to go. I think they'd be silly to not take advantage of that customer base already, because I'm guessing, and I think it's a pretty educated guess, the amount of people that own AI accelerated hardware in their GPU space versus CPU space is overwhelmingly in the GPU's favor. There is way more people that are owning GPUs that have AI accelerated hardware. Because how recently did the CPUs come out with AI accelerated?
Oh, the Media Lake Intel ones, December. So now.
There you go. So if they're going to be releasing this next year, how many people are going to be? Everyone's got to run out that wants Windows 12 to run out and get a new CPU.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of leading to that, because with Media Lake, and Media Lake says it supports Intel had data that was leaked that said it supports Windows 12, which is obviously doesn't officially exist. And AMD are relaunching a 8000 series Ryzen, but it's going to be for mobile only, and it's basically a refresh of the existing Phoenix or whatever the Ryzen Zen 2 or Zen 3, Zen 4, whatever we're up to. I'm not a CPU expert.
Neither am I.
But it's a refresh with AI, and it's coming out early next year. It seems that Intel and AMD are positioning brand new PC. So if you're releasing, let's say in 2024, right? If you're a company like Acer or Asus or Gigabyte or MSI, and you're releasing a laptop, right? You're going to want to have Windows 12 on it, and it's going to be an AI PC. So if all these AI PCs are coming out next year, then they're going to be using these new CPUs.
It could be both, man. They could do both.
That
would be a pain in the ass, but they could do it.
The rollout would be so small, though.
It would be tiny.
This will be the first Windows launch that won't be able to hit hundreds of millions of PC users, because the market for Windows is hundreds of millions, right?
Yeah.
Conservatively. You got businesses, you got people using it. Anybody with a PC is basically using it. So if you need a specific CPU and GPU, or else you can't install it, this rollout for Windows 12 is going to take a long time.
They have to just choose GPUs. They have to.
They have to choose GPUs, and my idea is that there's going to be a version that just says, well, you can't use the AI features, or all the AI features are going to be limited to cloud and are going to be a lot slower because of that. So
I think
if you don't have AI hardware, then you can run it, but it's just not going to be as good.
I think what they'll do, and I hope this almost selfishly, if you own an RTX card, you won't be able to access any of those AI features if you're on the GTX series or below. You're struggling as it is if you're still running a GTX card. In today's day and age, you'll be fine, I suppose, at 1080p and you're playing on low, but you know what I'm saying here is that RTX seems like the hardware's already in gamers' PCs, and that's only going to help NVIDIA if that's the case, because a lot of businesses, they don't run good GPUs because they don't need them, but if the Windows 12 AI features are like business changing, where they'll speed up productivity, then businesses around the world will be going out and ordering like new RTX cards to access it. Yeah,
this is what they're banking on, right? And for sure, Microsoft is banking on this too. So you go like, so PC sales have they're recovering, right? So like, post pandemic, there was a big slump in all hardware.
Yeah.
There was not only the shortages, but then, there's financial issues and there's economic stuff, all that sort of stuff that, we're not experts on. But everybody's predicting that in the next couple of years, PC sales are going to dramatically increase. And one of the drivers is going to be AI. And this is not just for workstations or data centers. All these companies are going all in on the concept of the AI PCs. Like your laptop is an AI PC, your desktop computer is an AI PC.
Yeah.
Because it has AI hardware and it has AI version of Windows, which is what Windows 12 is. And for them to launch it in June 2024 makes sense. If they're targeting mid next year, the AI arms race is in full swing, and I doubt, like, even if Microsoft originally planned Windows 12 to be 2025, based on what's been happening in AI just in the past 6 months, I wouldn't put it past them to accelerate the timeline and get a version of it out the door in June 2024 to be able to meet the demand, or the demand that they hopefully will see. Because this is new as well. Like, there's no such thing as an AI PC right now.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Like,
yeah.
Like they're banking on businesses, like you said, like just rushing out and getting AI PCs.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that makes total sense. I'm excited to see what happens there. I think we should wrap up.
Yeah. We've been going for a while.
We've been going for a while.
GTA 6.
Thank you very much for listening. If you've made it this far, please go like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the other podcasts if you can't get enough of listening to our news talk.
Yeah. Check out the clips, the shorts. Everything.
Check out the clips, shorts. It's all going up everywhere, and we'll see you next week for what will undoubtedly be another jam-packed week of news.
Definitely.
All
Thanks,
right.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya.